Thursday, November 5th, 2015, and it is like close to 8 o'clock in the evening, and today was a rather unusual weather event day. Today we had unusually warm weather, and today I took and spent some time doing some more video shooting. Primarily was it going along different places along the lower Merrimack River. The lower part of the Merrimack River, all the way from Haverhill to Newburyport. For my the latest video program that I want to create about was it essentially River in Autumn, and of course was it not much else has been happening. I myself have also been feeling a little bit sad. The issue is with it, what drives my when I feel down was it the issues related to social functioning, and also the issues of in the outside world. There were a lot of people who essentially wear their hatreds and prejudices on their sleeve, and they're extremely hyper proud of their hatreds and prejudices. That this should not be. And of course, was it that in this world we're all supposed to try to get along and try to share this world, but there are people who think that some people are trash. And of course, as an adult with autism and mild cerebral palsy, I am seen as trash by some people who think that that I am less of a person than they are. I'm just speaking not about particular people, but that in some of but in general, there are those who do who take pride in, shall we say, hurting disabled people in ways like denying them denying them civil rights, denying them benefits, or denying them employment. Of course, that's a big issue, that I am very much, agitating about, because, many persons with disabilities actually want to be employed, but 75% of us, this is cross disabilities, all different disability categories. So at least 75% of us, perhaps almost up to 80%, are unemployed. And of course, the government figure says 75%, but the actual figure is probably at least 5% higher. And then the people on the autism spectrum, like myself, the amount of unemployment there is actually about 90% from ages 18 to age 65. And state vocational departments of vocational rehabilitation for the disabled are completely incapable of addressing this issue. In fact, for the most part, vocational rehabilitation for the disabled, as I believe I've said before in a previous video weblog, is created by non-disabled persons who totally assume, that they know what disabled people need with regards to employment. And vocational rehabilitation, in many ways, deliberately sets up disabled people for vocational failure. And they set them up in such a way, that even if they do become, disabled people do become employed through State Department of Vocational Rehabilitation Services, they are relegated to jobs which can absolutely and utterly never lift them out of poverty. And so essentially, whether even a disabled person has a job and is not on public assistance, the person, by and large, is relegated to permanent poverty, or the person is on public assistance such as SSI and SSDI. Of course, SSDI is for disabled adults who have a work history, like myself. And of course, the have many issues here the SSDI only provides enough money for, and really in many parts of the country, not enough money to physically survive on. For example, I myself am, because of this, am $150 in the hole because I had to use my American Express charge card, which has to be paid off to a zero balance every single month. That because I had extra expenses that had to be paid for on the card, which were related to disability rights activism. Doing such things paying for gasoline, paying for food. If you gotta go and do activism, you gotta take them with it. At least stop someplace to eat. To take them, because you can't neglect your body. And also pay for the gasoline for the car. Also, the issue with it going down into Boston, for meetings, had to take and pay for the Charlie ticket with the Charlie ticket kiosk. That adds up. Because it's at least, it's almost, they say about $285 or $286 $2.86 a for one way for the subway. With it, the rapid transit, but rounded up to really the $3 a ride. Because that's what the real cost is. And of course, that because I use the subway going into Boston not very much, it does not make sense for me to buy a monthly disability rate card with its transit pass, because I only go down there like maybe once or twice a month. That if I were doing it every day, then fine. It's also the issues too, okay, you have and of course many of the people who are politicians think they're doing good by hacking off social services for persons in poverty, but they can say get a job, you fucking slob, but that does not work because many persons in poverty actually are working, and the issue is they do not make enough to even feed themselves or their families. They cannot because too many times there are issues like the cost of transportation, the cost of housing, which includes the cost of fuel oil, the natural gas, electricity, to heat and light the place, wherever they're living. I'll also mention this other fact too that is interesting, is that throughout the entire United States, the cost of a simple one-bedroom studio apartment, that could be for a person with a disability on a first floor level, costs at least 105% of an SSI or SSDI with a disabled adult on SSI or SSDI, 105% of that income, which is beyond the capacity of a disabled person to even pay to become independent and live in the community. And the way also there's an issue too where federal Section 8 housing that is allocated for disabled people, there is at least a waiting list here in New Hampshire. The waiting list went out from my understanding. Well, I'm a disabled adult, older adult, and the waiting list is at least 1 decade. So even if I were to take and apply this month, it would be I would not get a disability accessible apartment, with a subsidized apartment for myself until the year 2025. By that time, I'll be 67 years old. And essentially eligible for elder housing. But even then, elder housing is not all of it is disability accessible or friendly, especially with it for persons with on the autism spectrum who have cognitive sensory issues, which of course I'm going to admit that I do have those. So, well, anyways, with it, just want to get these things out there in the my video weblog for today. And of course, I'll also say that many times with it, politicians say, let the churches help the disabled. Let the churches do it all. The churches cannot do it all because, ever since, the 19th century, the churches were made to take care of everybody, do all the social services, and they all got overloaded, especially when natural disasters happen. And also the issue too with this is that an man-made economic calamities with it, economic catastrophes, totally created by, the 1%er greed and avarice, and essentially with it, the attitude was with it, we don't need the government to step in to help people, but that's not an answer because, in the 1920s, well, after the stock market crash in 1929, all the churches in the United States got overloaded, and they essentially most of all financially buckled under the stress of having to try to help all the people whose lives were financially destroyed, from joblessness, homelessness, and with it, and also outright starvation. With it, and the issue is with it that for 4 years, with it, the Republican administration of Herbert Hoover, they were told that the government has to step in and help and do. Okay, don't prop up the 1%ers. The help needs to go to the ordinary people. And essentially, with it, Herbert Hoover prolonged the crisis. Back in the 1920s, the early 1930s. But, and of course, we have the same situation now, where we have the people are losing everything. I have pretty much lost everything. That I have no job, no hope of ever getting another job. I'm on a disability. That means I'm permanently living in poverty. Not because I want to, but because it was forced onto me by others who did not want to help me to help myself. And of course, this is an issue with it that people that really gets me very, very angry. That many of us people with disabilities want to help ourselves, but we're not allowed to because we have all these do-gooders, either in the secular government or in the or in with the organized religion who think they know how to, who think they know what we want, or totally assume, is it that, okay, oh, you poor thing, is it, here's some, was it, well, here's a handout, that, but that's not what a lot of people want. People don't want handouts, especially as people with disabilities. That we want to be helped to live our rightful place in the community and to be respected for who we are and for the positive pro-social values that we bring to the community. Well, I'll just sign off right now.